to the Spirit Speaker KC podcast. I am psychic medium Jamie Collins. Welcome. Thank you for joining me this evening. I thought today's topic, I'm going to hop right in, and I thought today's topic would be kind of good. It came up during last night's development circle. As you may or may not know, I have a development circle, a mediumship development circle that happens twice a month, every other Wednesday. And so at our first class last night after the holiday break, and a question came up about how long does it take when your loved one has crossed over for them to come through and to give you messages or to make contact, just connect with you. And so I thought today we would talk about that a little bit. First and foremost, when I first began my mediumship, I was one of those that thought, okay, it might take them 6 months, it might take a year. I thought they need to get acclimated, being back home, being back on the other side. And I thought it takes them some time. I'm not going to rush it. And what I've learned over all the years of doing this, and I've talked about a lot how spirit is the best teacher. We can have our own ideas or things that we think it's going to happen this way or it's going to happen that way, and then spirit shows you something completely different. And that's what's happened with this, about how long does it take once that soul has transitioned for them to come through. And the answer is, drum roll, it differs by the soul. It can take 12 hours, it can take a week, a day, 10 years, 5 years. In all honesty, I have learned that it depends upon the soul. There is no one standard answer for how long it takes spirit to come through. And I have found that I've had a couple of readings where I'll tell the story in a little bit about how quickly someone came through. But I really believe that we just have to say, look, I have no idea. I'm going to leave it up to the soul. The soul decides, like in almost everything, the soul decides, the spirit decides when they want to come through. Now, one of these that I do believe in terms of time, it's not so much time for the spirit folk, for that soul that has crossed over. I really believe that sometimes we in the physical are not ready to hear from our loved one. And we're grieving. We want to know that they're okay. We have all these questions. Are they still alive? Are they still around? But we're not feeling like we're getting anything. How many people I've met or clients that I've had that say, I just lost my loved one and I haven't heard anything from them. I've been asking for signs, I've been asking them this, and I just don't feel them. I don't feel them. They're not around. They must not love me because I don't feel them. And I really believe part of that is due to your grief, that it's not quite time. That grief can act as an energetic barrier. And I think there's a lot going on when you love someone consciously and unconsciously, or subconsciously, I should say. There's lots going on. And you may not be ready to hear from your loved one. It may not be the right time. So a lot of times you might hear a medium say, wait, after a loved one passed, wait 2 months, wait 6 months. I think that's for us in the living to make sure we are ready. And I get it, believe me. I know people who have come to see me and they just lost someone last week or 2 weeks ago or a month ago, and they're just adamant they want to hear from them. And then when you, as the medium, they come in for a session, and you're like, look, afterwards, because I never let them say a whole lot before, you can't control who comes through. So your loved one may have been gone for a week, a month, and they don't come through, or they may come through. But a lot of times, I really believe that waiting time is for us in the physical. We have to get through the loss of that loved one. So that's what I think. It's really for us. We need time. I don't believe spirit needs time. Not really. And the other part of that is allow spirit to get acclimated to being out of the physical body. I can only imagine you've had, depending on how old they are, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 80 years, 90 years, you've been in a physical body and you've made this transition. Those signs. Um, so I feel like we have to give spirit time once they've transitioned. I believe there are some souls they transition and automatically they know how to communicate with us, to connect with us, give us signs, let us know they're around. There's some who can do it really quick. There are others, I feel like it takes time. Maybe they have to learn how to manipulate the physical, now being not in the non-physical. I don't think it's as easy as we believe. You know, when I say that, it kind of makes me think of the movie Ghost, and Patrick Swayze's in the movie, and there's this other spirit, this ghost, and he's kind of showing Patrick Swayze in the movie Ghost how to manipulate, how to move things, and it's done with the mind. So I'm of the belief that some souls are quicker at it, and some souls that it may take time for them to learn how to communicate and connect with us. So it's one of those things you just kind of have to, I believe when we're ready and they're ready, they can make it happen. I really believe that. It's really about time. I've learned there is no set time. Spirits can do it at all amounts of time. I think we have to work through the grief. We're not always ready when we think we're ready, even though at a conscious level we think we are. Subconsciously, it may not be time. And I'm convinced that our loved ones on the other side know if we're ready or not to receive that communication. And then thirdly, like I said, we have to give them an opportunity to learn how to do that. Some can do it very quickly, and some it may take some time. So for the question that came from the student in class last night, and that's exactly what I told her. I used to believe it took them a while, and Spirit has shown me over the years it really doesn't take any time at all. And one example, I think I've had a couple of sessions over the years that convinced me. Because again, I had my own way of thinking. I told you, I said, nope, it takes this amount of time and this amount of time, give them time to acclimate to the other side and get used to not being in a physical body. And now they're in a non-physical body. And how are they going to connect with us? How are they going to do it? Is it going to be through a dream visitation? Are they going to give us signs? Is it going to be a feeling? And I remember this was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was at a metaphysical fair, and a young lady sat down with me, and it was her and her husband, and they had just had a new baby. Baby was maybe 6, 8 months old, and she sat down. And as I'm giving her the reading, immediately, I felt this older gentleman that I felt like was a grandfather. So I'm asking her, you have a grandfather in spirit? And she's like, yes. And so I go through the reading and I'm giving her all the evidence of her grandfather through personality and through evidence, practical evidence. And so at the end of every session, I always have a few minutes of feedback or if they have questions or anything they don't understand. And I said to the young lady, I said, when did your grandfather pass? And she goes, I remember this specifically at 1:05 this morning. And I'm working the fair. It's noon, maybe 1 o'clock. Literally, grandpa had just died. So that I usually don't remember my readings, or I remember little bits and pieces. I'm not one who really remembers my readings unless something about those readings stick out. And what stuck out about this reading is because when I asked the young lady, when did grandpa pass? She goes, oh, at 1:05 this morning. And my mouth dropped open. I'm like, you're kidding. She goes, nope. And she goes, you know what, Jamie? I'm driving here and I'm telling my grandpa he better come through. He better. I'm driving here. I'm coming specifically to see Jamie, and she's giving Grandpa all the rules, like just telling him you better come through. Grandpa was her guy. They were super close. And I love the way she said that on the way, she was making sure she told her grandfather that he better come through. And I think a lot of people do that in sessions anyway. We all have that expectation of people that we would like to hear from. And this young lady was no different. And I just remember never forgetting that she said at 1:05 this morning. So grandpa had been spirit side for 12 hours. And that goes to show it's different. Every soul is different. And grandpa, that told me a lot about the love, the connection that these two had. And he really wanted to give his granddaughter a message that he was okay, and coming through with evidence that she had no doubt that it was her grandpa. And from then on out, I stopped saying, oh, they need this much time, they need that much time. That was a perfect way for her to validate that her grandpa had transitioned, he had transitioned, and he was okay. I still remember another reading that I had a few years back, and a young lady had lost her partner, her boyfriend, and she was just missing in bed. She needed a connection. She wanted to know that he was still around. And so afterwards, we're kind of, having small talk. And same thing, I'm giving her evidence of this gentleman in spirit that felt like a partner. And again, the same thing, going through the reading, all the evidence and so forth. So at the end, when we're having feedback time, and I say, well, how long has your partner been in spirit? And I remember he had passed unexpectedly. He was maybe in his 30s, maybe 40s. I don't even think 40s. And she goes, 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 weeks? And she's like, yeah, he just passed. And she goes, you know what, Jamie? I knew that he was okay because he had given me messages that he was okay. But I wanted to come see a medium to validate what I was getting was actually him. And so I said, just out of curiosity, I was like, well, how did he let you know he was around? She goes, well, I was driving and I came to a stoplight and a truck drove by. And I can't remember the name, and not that I would disclose it anyway, but she goes, a van or a truck drove by, and the name on the side of the van was Gary. And she goes, okay, Gary, that's the name of my boyfriend. Is this Gary saying hi to me? She goes, but you know how it is. You doubt, you don't trust. She goes, yeah, okay, well, maybe that's him. And she's like, okay, I continue driving. And I'm at another stoplight, and she's like an 18-wheeler. This wasn't a van or a truck, but like an 18-wheeler drove by. And on the side of it, it was Williams and Brothers. And again, I'm making that up just because I don't remember. She goes, "Wait a minute. I saw the van or the van or the smaller truck said Gary. Now I'm seeing this 18-wheeler that says Williams. That's my partner's name, Gary Williams. That can't be." And so when she got that sign, she was like, "That's not a coincidence. It's just not a coincidence. It has to be him saying hello." And then coming to the medium, she wanted to get that validated that it was him on the other side. He was still okay. And they had been trying and had been contacting her from the other side. And it had only been 2 weeks. So I'm a believer that I say this all the time, and I really believe that I don't care if our loved ones have been spirit side for a week, a month, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. They still want to connect with us. They still want to communicate with us and let us know that they are around. And they will do that in anyway. You have to be open. You can't say, "Well, only come to me in my dreams," a dream visitation, or it's a cardinal or a dragon or a dragonfly, or, you have to really be open that they can come through in any way. I don't know if you remember a previous podcast I had where I told you I was driving by a church that a friend and I had attended, and I had just been thinking about her and, reliving memories. And I pulled into the grocery store. I had to stop at the grocery store, and I looked to the left of me, and there was a van with her last name on it. After I had just passed the church, had kind of been going down memory lane thinking about her and our friendship, I cast that to the side. I pull into a grocery store parking lot, and the van next to me was her last name. So I'm a believer that they always want to contact us. They always want us to know that they're around. And believe me, it does not take as much time as we think, or it could take a while. And usually the only time we're limited with time is for us, those of us in the physical. That spirit can come through at any time. So I hope that helps. Thank you again for tuning into this. You can find me on my YouTube channel at Spirit Speaker KC. If you're not one who likes to watch and you want to listen, I'm also on Spotify. Thank you so much. Reach out, leave a comment for me in a way maybe that your loved one has reached out to you, and how long did it take for them to reach out? Because it doesn't take as long as you think it does. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.